Namaste, everyone. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here, and thank you for joining us today for Insightful Conversations with Dawna. That's me. I'm super excited about my guests today. But first, I want to ask you all to do something very, very important, and that is to go to waterbears.org and check them out because they are helping bring filters to small villages, to places where there's flooding and all of that going on so that people can get clean water. And there's a lot of flooding going on right now that I'm sure you all know and have heard about. There's some flooding going on in Ecuador, in Cuenca area. There's flooding going on in Louisiana. There's flooding going on in India. And let's just bring our hands to our hearts and send love out to everybody that is going through this flooding right now. People that have lost their homes, that have lost some of their livestock and animals, and some of the things that are important to them. So let's do the Avesa Breath. And if you don't know what that is, Ave means hail, and Sa means the divine, God, whatever, universe, whatever you believe. So let's take in a deep Ave, filling up your lungs, really deep breath, and letting out with a big Sa, and really feeling your body release with that. Let's do that again. Ave, inhale, exhale, Sa. And let's do that one more time and really send out that love and light to all the people that are going through the floods right now all over the world. One more Ave in, filling up those lungs, letting it out with a big Sa. Good. Thank you. So again, that's waterbears.org. Go there. They are in desperate need of donations. And you can see some of the amazing work that they are doing to help people get clean water, which is so very important right now. We all need clean water. So I want to bring in my fabulous guest today. She is so fun. Oh, sorry. I just had a chat. We have a live chat, so you can send me chats today. Yay. So I have the shield of Zachiel behind me. And if you don't know who that is, Archangel Zachiel, he was the archangel that's listed in the Bible that held Abraham's hand back from sacrificing his son at the altar. And he is an amazing archangel. Shri and Kira, if you don't know who they are, go to SRIandKIRA.com, ShriandKira.com. They have so much incredible information and classes and trainings. And right now we're going through this I Am book, this I Am discourse, and it's phenomenal. And this was from Saint Germain that created this book back in the 30s. And it's so powerful and absolutely relevant for what we are experiencing today. So the shield of Zachiel came through Kira. Zachiel speaks through her, and this shield is just, I mean, look at it. It's so powerful. It just radiates, and it's amazing. If you want one, if you don't have one, I have small laminated ones. I would be more than happy to send one to you. Just shoot me your address and I will drop one in the mail to you, because it's protective and it's powerful and it's igniting, and it's just a beautiful thing to have. So do that. And my email is Dawna4fitness@gmail.com. So you can send me an email or you can put it in the chat. Either one is totally fine. Or go on Facebook and private message me your address if you'd like a shield of Zachiel. And I would be more than happy to provide that for you. So now to my guest. Oh my goodness. Rebecca, I met Rebecca several years ago. She had Fit Body Boot Camp at the time. And I was looking to kick up my intensity of workouts. And so I went there and fell in love with her and with her program, and it was transformative for me. And we'll talk more about that journey after she comes on. But Rebecca, I would like to bring you on to talk about health and wellness and all the amazing things you do. She's a photographer. She creates things. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. So good to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So good to have you on.
Thank you.
So yeah, I met you several years ago when you had Fit Body Boot Camp, and in fact, I believe it was January of 2014 when
Sounds about right.
when I did your transformation challenge. That was 8 weeks long, and we had to turn in food diaries and talk about what we could and couldn't eat and all of that. And so anyway, it made a difference. I know I lost like 7 pounds and built muscle, which is what I was wanting to do. And that was amazing. And at that point, you suggested that I do a fitness show. And I remember thinking, I'm too old for it. What? A fitness show? Are you kidding me? Why would I do that? I'm not going to go against 20-year-olds. And you're like, no. They have it separated by age. So you can go against women more your age. And I was like, okay.
Yeah,
so
and you're You're very welcome.
That was an experience for sure.
Well, you actually, watching you go through your training and experience actually inspired me to try myself a few years later. So thank you for that.
It comes right back to you. Yes, and you did an amazing job at transforming your body and all that. And it's really a hard thing to go through to change your body like that. And the detailed weighing of everything you eat, really keeping track of everything. It also is a little hard on the body, wouldn't you say?
Just a little bit. Yeah. I'm glad I went through the experience, and I'm sure you're glad you went through the experience, but I learned a lot. Absolutely. I now can honestly say what it takes for somebody, at least somebody in their 40s and 50s, to make that kind of transformation. And I will be I'm completely honest. I don't know if I would do it again. It was extremely difficult. I think more so post show, the recovery from it. I didn't have the right support post show, so and I didn't know how to come out of the training aspect into more of a more well-balanced life until later down the road. And so it was hard, but what I think what I loved about it is that, the physical aspect, yes. And the food, yes, that was all hard. But I think the emotional side of things, when you shed that much fat, there's so much emotion behind it.
There is. And I have
so
memories, like traumas, memories from my childhood started coming up. Because as women, we tend to hold traumas in our hips and thighs. And that's also where we tend to carry the majority of our fat, right? Yes. So, or at least I do. And so when we go and we release that, and we're releasing those memories, or releasing that emotions, things can come up. And I'm really glad that I was going to a therapist that was able to help me process those things that came up, so that it didn't impact me further.
Right. Yeah.
And I know you had a similar experience.
I had a lot of just childhood stuff that I had to release, and relationship stuff I had to release. And I didn't want that stuff to come up. I was like, I'm going to just bury you and just ignore you. and no, it forced me to deal with some stuff, and it was great. I mean, what a cleansing process.
Yes. Absolutely cleansing process. That's a really good way to put it. And yes, I am very grateful for the experience. I liked being able to show that I didn't have to let hormones control my body and rule my body as I got older. I see so many women that they give in to the hormones and just kind of throw up their hand because the doctors throw up their hands. They don't know what to do. And they just go, oh, well, you're just going to be heavier. You're just going to have extra 15, 20, 30, 40 pounds, whatever the person does. For me, it was 15. But I was working out regularly. I was eating fairly clean, not as clean as I eat now, but I was eating fairly clean. So it was very frustrating for me when I started gaining weight, and what I used to be able to do to get that weight off wasn't working anymore. And so I know I was grateful that I found you and your program and all of that. So recently, I know that you went through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, which is something I had done back in 2012. And I know you went through it, which it's a phenomenal program.
Love it. I have one more month. I have
one more month. Oh, yay. Congratulations.
So I'm loving it. Yes, it's just amazing.
You learn so much, right? Learn so much about everything. I was amazed at all the different things when I went through it. And it is completely mind, body, spirit thing. I love the wheel. I have a wheel here too.
Yeah, you've got a whole wheel of your own there. Yeah.
Yes. Our health is not just physical.
It isn't, or the food that we put in our mouth. And that's what I love about this program, is that it really brings to light how influential everything else in our life affects us and feeds us. And just like the food we put in our mouth, the toxic relationships or the job we hate or the lack of self-care all do the same thing as a candy bar as far as what it does to our health. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And it's really eye-opening for, I kind of intuitively coached my clients that way, even before I had heard of integrative nutrition. And so when they started talking about it, I was like, okay, there was a reason why I was drawn to this program, is because they reinforced what I naturally felt like was the right thing to talk about, and our coach. And it's just been phenomenal. Loving it.
Yes. It was very eye-opening to me. I hadn't ever thought about if I was eating, say, chicken, which I used to eat a lot of chicken before I found out I was allergic to it. But I hadn't really thought about it. Matters how that animal was raised, how the animal was treated. We, just like us, just like Rebecca and I were talking about a few minutes ago, how we store those traumas and those emotions in our fat cells. Yeah. So do animals. And so when you go and you get that chicken breast, if that animal has been tortured, if it's been given a bunch of crap, it's got, well, all animals, when they are killed, no matter how humanely they were raised, are going to have fear in their cells. They just are.
Yeah. Well, if you talk to, being in Montana, we talk to a lot of hunters. And so if you talk to a hunter, they're always going to say it's best that that animal is not running away from you as you're trying to shoot it or whatever, because it affects the taste and quality of the meat. So if they don't even know it's coming and they just die without that fear, it really affects that meat.
It does. Absolutely. And that's just it. It has everything to do with those emotions, and they do go in the cells and they do tie in, and it does matter. And so when you go to eat that animal, and I'm not saying don't eat animal. I choose to only eat fish just because that's all my body will tolerate. My body rejects any other animal out there. And so I honor my body and listen to it. And yes, I do think eating at least 50, if not 75% or more of fruits and vegetables, which is light, which is living, which has the light living enzymes in it, is the best for your body. Absolutely. But whatever you eat, if you eat that animal, you're going to absorb those traumas. You're going to absorb those emotions that the animal had. And, you know, so think about that.
Yeah.
What is that doing to your cells if you're absorbing that, right?
Yeah. 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 So true. It's so true. We've had some funny, traumatic stories and experiences here in our own house when we kind of, you know, go cheap on some of our meat sometimes, and we don't really anymore, but we've had enough, you know, weird traumatic experiences when we bring home like a cheap chicken, and it's just, you can just tell, it just, even before you cook it, it just feels different, and we're like, oh God, there's something wrong with this poor animal. And yeah, we've had some pretty interesting experiences. I think the cleaner, the more aware we become of our own health, and the consciousness of everything around us, we here in our house we've become a lot more in tune, I guess, or sensitive to what we bring in the house for our foods. Yeah, it's really fascinating.
It is. Well, you know, everything is energy. We're all energy. We're energetic spiritual beings having a physical experience. And we are not our body. Our body is housing us and giving us this physical experience, but we are our heart and soul. And that's why it's really important to connect with your heart and soul at least a couple times a day. Bring your hand to your heart and remember to connect in with that mind, body, spirit. Bring them all back together. Because when you live a life that is ruled more from your heart and soul, you're going to make better quality choices. You're going to have a better quality of life than when you let your monkey mind, so to speak, or your ego take control. And you know, and I know that you've learned a lot about this recently.
Yeah, I've learned a lot about it, and I talk to clients who are open to the idea of that our foods have different vibrations, you know, and our foods have to match our vibration if we're going to be optimally healthy. And you were saying your fruits and vegetables that are living, they have a lightness to it. That's that higher vibration.
Yes.
And these poor animals who have been mass farmed and you know, live in fear and in just horrible conditions. It's such a low vibration. And it really, it kind of changes. Like if you're trying to be a high vibratory kind of person, high vibe person, it's, I would suggest you start eating a lot more live and living foods to bring that vibration up.
It really does make a difference. I know for me, I have so much more stamina and energy and endurance and, you know, sleep better, all of those. My skin is better, you know, all of that is, and it has a lot to do with putting those higher vibration foods into my body and not putting a bunch of chemicals and sugar and things that really produce a lot of acid and inflammation. Because, you know, inflammation is the base of pain and disease and all of that. And it does matter what kind of food you put in your body.
I heard a stat in one of my lessons the other day. One of the lectures was, and it was, and I think this lecture was probably a couple years old still, but so I know the number is higher now. But there's, I want to say 85% of what puts people in the hospital is directly related to inflammation in the body, which is directly related to the food you put in your body.
Right. So, exactly. And it always baffles me and I understand when you have a little kid, you just want to make them happy, right?
Sure.
But step back and think about what is best for their quality of life.
Yeah.
It's not those Lucky Charms. It's not those Cheetos. It's not the, not saying ice cream once in a while is bad. It's not, but it's not buying all these foods with all these dyes in it. That is harmful to their little brains.
And kids don't know the difference. If you don't ever introduce that stuff to them, they never know what they're missing until they get into school. And then they're like, hey, Jimmy's got that.
Right.
But they've done studies on young kids who, like if you put a plate of a variety of food, including a little bit of like sugar and a little bit of a junk, but also a protein and a vegetable and a fruit and a nut or a healthy fat. If you put that plate in front of them consistently throughout the week, though their bodies innately and instinctively will eat what their body needs in that moment. They don't always go for the sugar. They don't always go for the junk. They may go for it at some point, but they equally and in a balanced way eat everything in a balanced manner. And that's what our body is supposed to do. But we've just trained it out of them because we think they have to have the Lucky Charms to be happy. They have to have the goldfish and the cookies and, all the processed stuff to make them happy. And if you don't start them like that, they don't need it. My own kid has told me in the past, I think when she started junior high, she came home and she had a bellyache and she looked at me and she goes, Mama, I hate that you have taught me how to eat healthy. I can't even have a corn dog at school without my belly hurting. I was like, good.
Yes. Yes. And she's going to thank you later when she is closer to our age. She's going to be like, thank goodness my mom didn't have me, because her body's going to function at a much better level. It's so sad that, type 2 diabetes is 100% preventable. 100%. Let me say that again. Type 2 diabetes is 100% preventable. It's what you eat. It's the diet.
I'm currently working with a type 2 diabetic. She's in her 70s, and she got diagnosed after started working out with us, and she got diagnosed, went to the hospital clinic to get her approved list of foods. It was horrendous what they told her it was okay to eat. There was donuts and cookies and chips and stuff on this list of approved foods for type 2. And of course they gave her the medication. And so I said, let's try this list of foods instead. Let's shift this around, get rid of the junk and the sugar. When she is consistent with the clean eating, she doesn't need to take her medication. She hasn't even told her doctor that she feels better without her medication.
Wow.
If she's eating clean.
Right.
100% preventable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It depends on what you put in your body. And if you're not putting the added sugar and carbs that turn to sugar, the simple ones, then you are, it's making it much easier on your body, because you're not producing all that acid and because sugar is so acidic to the body, and it does create a lot of inflammation. And I've had clients that I talk to, and I tell them sugar is the first thing you gotta cut out if you want to feel better. If they have arthritis, or if they have
any aches and pains, anything.
Yes. And they're like, really? How can sugar be the cause of my pain? It's like, just try it for a couple of weeks and then tell me you don't feel better. Yeah. They always feel better.
Always. I love seeing those light bulb moments too, when they realize that, like, whoa. Yes. I had somebody tell me yesterday that they really hesitated to start our program because she knew I was going to tell her to get off of sugar. And she's like, she looked at me and she goes, I flat out am absolutely petrified to get rid of sugar. So I'm like,
yes,
there's your sign.
It's very addictive. It's very addictive. Why, we learned that at IIN it's like 5 times more addictive than cocaine or heroin. And that, I don't know if they showed you yet the pictures of the brain and how it lights up.
Fascinating. I want to find somebody here that will do those brain scans.
So, yes. Super cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Rebecca, besides doing health and wellness and fitness, and why don't you tell people, first of all, how they can locate you, how they can get in contact with you if they want more information? Because I know you've streamed classes as well, and you're doing all sorts of wellness things and sugar detoxes. And
sugar is my big like, I don't know, emphasis or focus in my coaching, because it is so important. So important. I think if we can get rid of sugar and the sugar addictions, we could massively change the health of our society. Massively.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I talk about it a lot. I talk about it a lot, and we do a lot of nutritional therapies with each individual to try to target nutritionally what is causing their cravings, because we all have different craving types and different driving triggers that point us in, whatever triggers our certain cravings, whether it's caffeine in the afternoon because we're a fatigue craver, or a crash craver because because we're eating sugar and then crashing, eating sugar and crashing kind of thing. So there's 5 different types, but that's a whole nother talk. But where people can find me, gosh, all over. So the name of the business is Kinesi Wellness. We switched from Fit Body Bootcamp away from just doing boot camps and workouts to a more well-rounded health program. So we still have small group training at our studio, but I think the main crux of what we do, or what I do, is the wellness coaching, because I think that is, if we can't get our food and nutrition under control, the workouts really are going to be null and void. We cannot fuel our movement, regardless of what kind of movement you want to do, without fueling our body, putting the right gas in our tank. And so that has to be the number one focus first, because there's no point in trying to work out if you're not eating well. So, in my opinion. So
I agree. I was talking to somebody the other day about, they were like, well, how do you get abs like that? And I said, they're made in the kitchen.
They are.
Yes, I do a lot of workouts, but they're made in the kitchen. It has to do with what I put in my body. And if I were putting junk in my body, it doesn't matter how many crunches or planks or mountain climbers or bicycles or any other ab workout, ab dolly, all that I did, it's not going to have the same impact or effect on creating, a defined abs. So
yeah, absolutely. So people can find me through our website, KinesiCoachingStudios.com. It's the same name on Instagram and Facebook as well. I don't know if you want to share my email in the comment section, Dawna. It's hello@KinesiInfo.com. That's probably one of the easiest ways to get hold of me. And like Dawna said, we have the in-person training program in the studio, but we also stream and record about 4 workouts, 4 different types of workouts every week. So we have a growing and building library of workouts that are filmed right on our studio. So we have people from all over the place who kind of just dial us up and do a quick workout. They're only 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes long. So they're short and sweet and to the point.
They're high intensity.
Yes. So we make sure we maximize your time. We maximize your time. So, and we've been doing that for 11 years, and it's not broken. So we're going to keep doing it.
Exactly. They are effective, and yeah, they're really good. So, tell me your email again. hello@Kinesi,
Kinesi, info.com. Yeah.
Okay.
That's probably the best way. Yep. And so if people, perfect. So if people want to just reach out through that email, ask me anything you want. I work with people either in person or via Zoom if they're not local. And if you want the workouts, but you're not local, then part of the coaching that I do is helping you design a movement program that's going to work for you. So that might be yoga or cycling or walking around the block if you're new to movement. But creating some sort of movement habit is part of our coaching if that's already not part of what you currently do every day. And then we talk a lot about nutrition, what you're putting in your body. We do the circle of life where we talk about all the primary foods that also feed you, toxic relationships or good relationships. What do you do that brings joy into your life? You know, do you have a spiritual life? You know, what does that look like for you? You know, I'm not a God preachy kind of person, but I think we all, to connect, even if it's just connecting with our own self, I think that's really important to bring to the table. Because if we're ignoring that, how do we take care of ourselves if we're ignoring ourselves?
Right.
So all of that has to be, we have to address all of it. So, yeah. So there we go.
Definitely. Thank you. Yes. You know, just being mindful when you're eating. So many people like they put on the TV and they zone out and they just eat. And how can you know if your body is full, if your body likes something, if you're not being mindful and paying attention to your body as you're eating, and pay attention to the texture and the flavor and you know, the little nuances about whatever you're eating. What spices did you use today in that, you know, or whatever. I mean, enjoy. It should
one of the,
but yes.
It really should be. Yeah, it really should be. One of the most common things that I find myself, we talk a lot about mindful eating a lot. I talk a lot about mindful eating with a lot of my clients because we're so, like you said, we're eating on the go. And so one of the big homeworks that I assign to a lot of my clients is when you're eating, put the fork and knife down between every bite. And you don't pick that fork and knife up again until you have swallowed that food. And I think just that one little habit really slows things down. And you know, you may find that you're only eating 3/4 of what's on your plate. Whereas before you would have had all of it, plus maybe gone back for more. But when you can slow it down by just that one little change in how you're eating, can really bring forth a lot more consciousness to everything.
Yes, and I think it's a lot more satisfying then. That's what I found. You know, when I am mindful about what I'm eating and paying attention to it and having gratitude for it, and you know, just acknowledging it, and that my body absorbs it healthier in a easier manner. And yeah, I'm able to pay attention to those little subtle nudges that my body's giving me when I'm full or when I'm getting full, by slowing down rather than just speeding through the meal. And like you said, going back for more. And then people wonder why they get heartburn or indigestion or, you know, it's digestive issues because, you know.
There's that. And when you are eating more mindfully and you're paying attention to the flavors and the dimensions of what you're eating, chances are you're going to be, your brain, it gives your brain a chance to recognize the sweetness that you already have in your mouth. And I mean, even meat has sweetness if you pay attention to it and if you don't cover it up with sugar. And if your brain is going, okay, that had a sweetness and a dynamicness to it and a three-dimensionalness to it, chances are it's going to eliminate or decrease some of those cravings for a dessert post-dinner or post-whatever. And because your brain is satisfied. I mean, a lot of times we reach for the sweets and the packaged stuff and the simple carbs because we're not satisfied yet, because we haven't given ourselves a chance to be satisfied.
Right. Because we've been watching TV or you know, looking at our phone while we're taking bites and not really being mindful about what we're putting in and how much, and letting it, really tapping in with our body to feel how it's feeling and how it's processing and all of that. And, you know, just feeling that goodness, that light, nourishment, you know, that goes in. And then, and I know you and I have talked a lot about this as well, is water,
Yes.
drinking water. And that's something that I challenged people that watch my show, is to drink more water. How are you all doing on that? I hope that you are drinking more water, that you have replaced one other beverage that you were consuming with more water, and paying attention to how you feel. If you drink soda, try giving it up for 2 weeks and drink water. Put lemon in it if you don't like the flavor, or lime, or other fruit, put cucumber. But your body is 70% water. You need water to function. And I know I've had people say, but then I have to go to the bathroom all the time. Guess what? That's not a bad thing. That means you're releasing toxins. Otherwise, you're holding them in. Don't hold them in.
But your body also gets acclimated to holding more volume for longer periods of time. It's like working a muscle. You're going to be able to hold your breath longer underwater the more you train. It's the same, I think, with your bladder. So that, you can train your body to hang on to that volume a little bit longer. So, yeah.
And that makes a difference as far as absorption of nutrients that we take in our body too.
Yeah.
And being well hydrated.
Yeah.
It makes a difference with our skin. It makes a difference with just all of our bodily functions, because especially our brain, but all of it, because our bodies are over 70% water. And I mean, the brain's over 80% water. And I know that they've done studies that when you're as little as 5% dehydrated, your brain function can diminish by 20%.
Yeah, it is absolutely crazy. Yeah, we were just having this conversation in my studio today for whatever reason. Somebody brought up water struggle. She has this water bottle that lights up when she hasn't drank enough in the bottle, and I'm like, why is your water bottle flashing at me? She said, oh, I haven't drank enough. She goes, it just reminds me to drink more, but she has a really hard time. Like sometimes she just doesn't want the water. She gets her gurgly feelings in the belly and stuff. And so we ended up talking about the size of hydrogen molecules and what kind of water to drink, and all that fun stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So it's, I've been having a lot of conversations lately about water.
That's awesome. As you know, I'm a huge water addict.
Yes. Well, you got me on the water.
Yes. And hydration and all of that wellness. I just, and I know you feel the same way. I want to help people suffer less. There's so much unnecessary suffering and so much misinformation out there. And I know Rebecca, I know her heart. She genuinely wants to help you to obtain a better quality of life, whether your goals are to lose weight, to gain muscle, to lower your diabetes, through proper nutrition. Not that we're not giving any medical advice or telling you can cure or heal or anything like that. We're not treating. We're just sharing information that we both have gone through personally, as well as the education that we've both done. And so now, besides all of this fabulous stuff that you do, you are an incredible photographer.
Thank you. Yeah, I spent the first 30 years of my adult life being a professional photographer, and I still enjoy it. I still do a lot of it when it calls, or when it's, when someone asks about it. So yeah, I do a lot of in studio, like fine art, black and white portrait work, and then on location, more like an environmental portrait work as well. And just being out in Montana has really opened up a whole new way of seeing things with animals and nature and stuff too. So it's been fun.
That's so cool. Yes, I love it. And they're beautiful. Thank
you.
Well, you did my photos before my show, and they were amazing. Rebecca's very talented. So if you have anything coming up that you want a photographer for, make sure and check her out. I'm sure you can reach her at that same email, and
same email's fine. Yep.
Just put interested in photography, but you have your work up someplace, don't you?
It's on. I have an online portfolio, RebeccaDouglasPhotography.com. Yeah, it's pretty simple. So yeah.
And then you've been making jewelry and clothes. And, you're going into.
I got a few things I'm doing. Honestly, Dawna, I'm an artist at heart.
Yes, you are.
Beyond anything else, that's where it starts with me. Is I am an artist. My soul needs to create. And for a while it was photography full time. And then, creating workouts and programs for the individual, that's extremely creative. And I didn't realize that until when I got into it. And I was like, wow, I really love creating stuff for somebody. But yes, I create, I do repurposed jewelry and upcycled clothing. We just started the High Vibry design shop where we print on upcycled clothing, some of my photography with quotes or words or, very positive messaging. And my jewelry is, it's repurposed, meaning I'm trying not to create new trash. I'm trying to take the old stuff that's going to get thrown into a landfill and kind of tear it down and rebuild it into something new. So we can kind of eliminate a little bit of the waste, that we are, anyway, don't get me started. It's horrible. It's horrible.
I know. And that's another reason that I love the water that we drink, because we eliminated a bunch of plastics from the environment. And, if you want to know more about that, send one of us an email about the water that we're talking about. That hydrates your body better, as well as has the capability to replace a lot of things in your home, that cleaners and so on that come in plastic bottles that are toxic, and so much better for the environment, and which Mother Earth needs our love. And right now, there's, as I was saying at the beginning, there's so much flooding going on around. And it's, people are losing homes and livestock and crops and, their livelihood in a lot of ways. And so I know that this waterbearer.org, they have gone into little villages in South Africa and brought filters to different women that were having to walk a half a mile or a mile to go get clean water for their family. And oftentimes they were having to do this at night. And so many times they would get raped. And, how horrible. What a life. But they had to go get it for their family because there wasn't any clean water in their little village. So when these incredible women that started this organization, when they go in and they bring a filter to them so they can get clean drinking water right there in their village, now they're able to start growing crops right there in where they live. And they don't have to take that walk to go carry this water. And it's incredible. And then I hadn't even thought about it until last night's show with Soul Mares with Kira on Tuesday nights. She does a show on Oneness Talk Radio at 5 p.m. Pacific. I didn't even think about when there's floods that come in to a village or a community, that then the drinking water isn't drinkable. No. And so it's important to have a good filter system so that you can have clean drinking water, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it really
and it makes you a lot more thankful for our water as well, because we're going to be having water issues. It's coming in this country. It is coming. In the Midwest, they're having problems.
Right.
All the floodings in the last year,
Right.
So it's,
Yes. I think, well, let's see, Shrink here do a show on Sundays as well. And they were talking about I want to say water, gas, and there was something else that they were saying this year is we're going to see shortages,
Okay.
Issues.
Well, we already saw the gas, so that's, water's coming. It's kind of already here, I think, in certain areas. We're just not talking about it very much. So,
yeah. So again, that's the waterbear.org. If you want to check into that and how you can help, that would be fantastic. And shrinkura.com for more information. I hope that I can't wait till you come to Tosa Blue Mountain with me, you and Danielle and Rebecca.
Oh my gosh, I want to so bad. Holy cow.
I know. Well, keep saving your money. And
oh yes.
It'll be it's so life transformative, and you'll just, you will just love it. You'll resonate with it because the vibration's so high, the frequency is so high there. And yes, it is 7,000 feet, but it's
you're literally high.
Yes, you're literally high. But yes, you feel the higher vibration. And not to mention this sacred mountain that has, this ancient temple ruins that is so, you can just feel the energy coming off of it. And it's just, it's incredible. Yeah. So, sorry to divert a little bit, but
okay.
We were talking about
girl, you are so passionate about everything. I just love it. I just love it. I love the passion.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So if somebody wanted to know, wanted to look at the pieces that you are creating, the jewelry and the clothes and that sort of thing, where would they be able to find that?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that. So right now, we are building our inventory for a local pop-up shop.
Cool.
So right now you can see stuff on our Instagram page. It's High Vibry, HIVIBERY. So that's our High Vibry page. So and we just started a Facebook page under the same name. There's not much there yet. So it's like one thing at a time. So my next goal is a website where you can actually purchase stuff. So, but right now we have this pop-up shop in a couple of weeks, and it's like, oh God, we need inventory. So I feel like little Santa elves just kind of trying to make stuff as fast as possible.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
It's fun. It feeds my soul when I can create stuff. It's just, it's a pure love project. Like selfishly, I do it because I love doing it. And if people enjoy it, awesome. So.
I just love that you are using things that are already there that we're going to go to the landfill and saving that from happening and then creating something beautiful and new out of it. I think that's fantastic.
I'm going to have to build another room on our house because I'm getting so many donations of people who are going to get rid of old, like grandma's jewelry. They don't know what to do with it. And like, do you want it? It's like, yes. Cool. I just need a whole nother room now. So
right.
It's awesome.
Put it in.
It's awesome. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So we have about 10 minutes left before we run out of time. Why don't you tell them a little bit about you? How did you get here? How did you come across this passion for fitness and wellness and all of that?
You only gave me 10 minutes, really?
I know, sorry.
That's not fair. Okay, so I actually got in. So I started photography. I went to school for photography, and like I said, that's my foundation of kind of who I am in the world. But back when I was about 38, my health started going downhill. And it was around the same time when photography was shifting from film photography, which is how I'm trained in, to digital photography. And I shoot digital now and I love it. But at the time, around the early 2000s, it was too big of a transition. I did not enjoy it. And so so around the time when my health was failing and photography was kind of going by the wayside, that was it. So there was a major in my world, huge transition going on. I was trying to figure out what was going on with my health. I would wake up with swollen shut eyes and a tongue that wouldn't move. And my skin was horrible. I had zero energy. And the doctors, I went to doctor after doctor after doctor, blood work. They tested me for every disease and autoimmune thing under the sun. And they literally looked at me and said, we give up. We have no idea what's going on. And it was very frustrating, very frustrating. And I ran into a nutritionist who looked at me and said, I don't think you're absorbing any nutrition when you eat. And so that was my kind of aha moment. It's like, oh my God, I'm 38 years old and I've been chronically dieting for the last 10 years. I had done the grapefruit diet, the raw food diet, the low carb, the Atkins at the time, which is now essentially keto. I mean, I've done them all. And I had just finished a raw food diet. It was supposed to be 21 days. I lasted 10 days, maybe. I don't know if I made it even halfway. 90 degrees, summer day, and I'm freezing to death.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely freezing. And I went, something's not right. I should not be feeling like this on this. I'm eating nothing but vegetables and fruit and nuts and all this raw living food. And I felt horrible. So this nutritionist said, let's get gluten, wheat, dairy, and sugar out of your diet. And here are a couple of amino acids and probiotics to balance out your gut. And let's see what happens. In 2 weeks, every symptom that I was experiencing went away in 2 weeks. Because my gut was I had such a leaky gut and a balanced gut flora that I wasn't absorbing an ounce of nutrition.
Right.
So that was a huge turning point for me. Once that started, then I had the energy to actually work out well. And I'd go run or jog or do aerobics class or something, but I put no intensity, no intention into it. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't feel good. So, it was a horrible situation. So I finally had the energy to actually try this 30-minute boot camp style type workout where I was living at the time in Seattle. And again, another 2 weeks later, changed my life. I was doing push-ups and I was on my way to doing my first pull-up and, all this stuff that I never thought I would ever be able to do. And so I did that for about 2 years. I turned 40, was in the best shape of my life, and decided to put photography completely on the back burner for a while and open my own fitness studio. And because it was such a revolutionary shift for me in my own health and spirit that I wanted to share this with other women. And so that's when I ended up going from Seattle to Billings, where I am now, and opening Fit Body Boot Camp at the time. And then eventually over time, Fit Body kind of morphed into what we currently do today. So a lot more well-rounded and a lot more nutritional focus. And presto, here we go. So I did that in 6 minutes. Look at that.
Yeah, you did that really well. You did that very well. You don't need 10 minutes or more. You did very well. Yes, I love that. It's interesting to look back on when we get some sort of illness, and that happened for me around 40 as well. And I know I've shared my story with you. They told me I had fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, probably the beginning stages of lupus, and high anxiety. And so I just need to be on sleeping pills and pain pills and I'd be fine. Yeah. How does that add up?
Yeah.
If you can't figure out what's causing all of my symptoms, my migraines, my debilitating, my fatigue, and I've always been a very high energy person. So how come I was all of a sudden full of fatigue and could hardly get out of bed and, had body aches and pains that I had never experienced before? How could just taking pain pills and sleeping pills
fix
make everything okay?
Yeah. It doesn't
fix it. It doesn't fix it. In fact, it causes more side effects. And I knew I wasn't going to go down that road. And so it's interesting how when you are given a illness like that, that kind of wakes you up to, oh, doctors are not going to make me healthy. They're not trained to. And nothing against doctors. I'm grateful for them. God bless them. You know, they're doing the best they can with the
great if you break a bone, need some surgery.
Absolutely. Have a heart attack, stroke, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm not putting down doctors at all. Okay. But a prescription drug does not heal you. Now, if you have a bacterial infection, it can take care of that. Yes. But other than that, if you don't have a thyroid, yes, you want to take thyroid medicine. But like you had said before, you know, at least 70%, if not more, can be regulated by reducing the inflammation in our body. And that's through diet. But it's interesting how having those illnesses woke us both up to paying attention to our body, paying attention to what nutrients we were actually putting in our body and absorbing, and taking us down this path of health and wellness and fitness and nutrition and hydration to find, you know, because we're both very passionate about what is going to work to give us optimal health, to give us quality of life so that we can live to be 100, but still have our mental capacity about us and remember everything, still have our physical capacity about us to where we can still run and bike and hike and do the things that we want to do, have high vitality, have high quality of life, and not be suffering. And so we both have a heart that wants to help you suffer less. And that's in many different aspects, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because it's more than just physical, and it's more than just
100%. Yes. Yeah. I think physical is such a small fraction of it, honestly. So.
Yes. It has a lot to do with our mind and what you believe and think and the words you say, the words that you know, and we talked about this before on my show about Dr. Emoto's study with words and water and how it does make a difference. And if we're over 70% water, it's going to make an impact on you and your cells as well.
Yep.
So we have just a couple of minutes left. What would you want to share with viewers that are watching today and those that watch it later or over the next few weeks?
That's a loaded question. That's a big question. Pay attention. Like, get off of autopilot. I think that's the number one message that I give everybody is like, get off of autopilot. Like, make a conscious decision when you wake up tomorrow and say, I'm going to be conscious about everything I say, everything I do, everything I think today. I'm going to eat mindfully. I'm going to keep my eyes on the road. I'm going to engage and look in the eyes of the person that I'm talking with. I'm going to stay connected and conscious and aware of even myself and including the people around me. I think that's really important because if you can do that, if we can get off of the autopilot that we are on in this society, I think we'll see a lot more. We'll see a lot more.
I love that. That is so right on, Rebecca. So right on. Absolutely. You know, being more mindful and being more present in the moment and enjoying that moment, right? It's about quality of life. And
it is.
Yes, you can survive, but why not thrive?
Right.
You know,
and if I think a lot of us are afraid to get off of autopilot because that autopilot protects us from seeing the things that aren't working for us in our life. And the idea of changing something in our life is very, very scary. So there's people like you and me out there that can help you ease into some of those changes and transitions. Like you and I both have personally been through so many for our own health and wellness. And we're here to help everybody make those transitions. And it doesn't have to be so devastatingly huge. It could be tiny little things, but get off of autopilot. That's step number one.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much, Rebecca. It's been such a pleasure to have you on my show today. I just love hearing, your journey, all the amazing things that you're doing, your insights, and I know you've made a big impact in my life, and I'm so grateful for that.
Well, right back at you, girlfriend. Thank you so much. This was such a great time, and hello to everybody out there that I can't see, and it's just, this has been great.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Whenever you catch this, it's the right time for you, and just know that we are sending you a lot of light and love, and hope that you have a wonderful week, and know that you matter. Know that you have value. Know that we would love to talk to you, that we would love to connect with you. And I did put both of our emails in the chat, so look for those there. And until next week, same time, same place. Sending you all lots of love. Thank you so much. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you, Dawna. Bye.
Stay.